Hello, good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Caloni.
And I am Faustina. So for tonight, MP-elect for Akwatia, Bernard rubbishes claims of government projects influencing the outcome of Tuesday's by-election.
And President Mahama issues 10 warning to Ofankor-Nsawam road contractor to meet June 2026 deadline for completion of the road rehabilitation project. We'll hear the response of the chief resident engineer of the project.
Also tonight, inflation chill. Ghana's numbers cooled down to 11.5%. We speak to some traders about the impact of the consistent decline of inflation rate on food prices here in Accra.
And Ivorian officials pledged full support, including food, shelter and security, to thousands of Gonja-Birifo ethnic conflict victims seeking refuge in Vankoro. Remember, Joy News, we are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism.
We appreciate your company.
Now let's begin from the political front, because the Member of Parliament-elect for Akwatia, Bernard Bediako-Bedu, has dismissed claims by the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, that government development project influenced Tuesday's by-election outcome. Now, according to him, the road project currently underway in Buedua was not politically motivated, but the result of long-standing requests from traditional leaders in the constituency. Now, the NPP, which lost the election, accused the governing party of using what it called deceitful promises to sway voters. But Mr. Bedu maintains that constituents voted for change because they desired fresh leadership. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, a wrap of the activities on Tuesday.
Solomon Asumedu had 15,235 votes. Bernard Bediako-Bedu of NDC had 18,199. I, Eric Osujemfi, the returning officer of Akwatia constituency, declare Bernard Bediako-Bedu MP-elect for Akwatia constituency.
That was the Electoral Commission's returning officer for the Akwatia by-election, declaring the results of that particular poll. The governing National Democratic Congress, NDC, has secured a supermajority in Parliament with a decisive victory in Akwatia. The party's candidate, Bernard Bediako, won the hotly contested election with 18,199 votes, defeating the NPP Solomon Asumedu, who polled 15,235. Bernard Bediako thanked supporters after his overwhelming victory.
I told you guys that we've been in this game for a while. If you are in it and you are losing, you will know, except maybe if you don't want to be honest to yourself. I told you what we were working out at that moment I spoke to was with regards to the gap. But as for the win, what are we witnessing? We've won. We are grateful for the opportunity the people of Akwatia has given us. It is a clear mandate, and we would not take it for granted. We will make sure we give them the best of representation and serve them well.
Supporters of the NDC's candidate hit the streets in jubilant mode after he was officially declared winner.
Now, lawyer, also go see a lawyer. About to Ekofampa, the Maniaji Bebre, say I didn't kunim. Now, Radi Akan, boy, Aviam Sunyano, Inya Anyajma.
Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC, Tanko Rashid Computer, had this to say after the win.
We told you that we are going to get 54%. More than that, that was projected. The projection was 53. but we finally got 54 plus. And you can look at the difference as projected. There's no difference between our own coalition and that of the EC coalition. The same, it came to the same, no difference. That tells you that we are on top of issues, and you saw what happened. We have worked for it. We have a credible candidate, and we have good message, and the people bought our message. And then so we are not surprised. People thought we were just binding figures around, but the figures actually show that we worked according to the figures that was given.
The exercise was relatively peaceful, with pockets of misunderstandings recorded at some polling stations. The Ghana Police Service deployed more than 5,000 personnel to man the elections in Akwatia. The defeat leaves the MPP with 87 MPs, as opposed to the NDC's 184.
We can now listen to Mr. Bediako Bedu, who has been speaking with my colleague Elton Brobe earlier on the polls.
2 weeks ago, His Excellency, the President wasn't in town. He tasked the Chief of Staff to come to Wenchi to introduce me to the Osiewu, the overlord of the area. When we went together with some other ministers and all that, they prayed the Chief of Staff to come to their aid with some projects. The Chief of Staff heard them and asked that, okay, the President is not around. I was only sent. So if you could have representatives to meet with the presidency on a day, I think 2 days after that day, that was on Tuesday, and that I should bring them to the Jubilee House for a discussion with regards to their demands.
Right.
We went as planned, and we met with the Vice President, who was the acting president. And the chief demanded that some immediate interventions happen in their communities, with regardless of whether there is by-election or not. And that, as a certain government who sees the chiefs as partners of development, had to oblige and said, okay, we can't do much because of the time. But if there are simple things we can do with regards to your town roads, which is less than a kilometer, and then all that, we can look at it and see. But we do not want it to appear as though it is by-election. They said, no, we are requesting for it.
Now, he later touched on his vision for job creation in the Akwatia constituency.
As I've said, they don't have jobs. I personally am a lawyer and I understand this better. As for mining, we cannot stop mining in Akwatia. That should be made clear, because that's what makes Akwatia what it is. But we will not do illegal mining, and that is what we should fight to make sure that people will do the mining, but in a legal way, in a very lawful way, So I have said that, look, this issue of bringing people together and giving them concessions regulated and under a certain scheme should be brought back. Because you see, GCD used to do something they call the tributor system. GCD gives you the land under their tutelage, you mine under their rules, so you don't do illegal mining. That's what has happened over the decades. And so you didn't hear of Galamsey until GCD was grounded. I'm saying we should go back to it.
Meanwhile, work is still ongoing on the Akwatia roads, despite suspicion that the timing of the project was to influence the outcome of the polls. Collins Frimpong has more in this report.
And earlier on, when we came here before the polls, we got here yesterday when the by-election was ongoing, we saw that this particular road and various roads within Takrase and Kusi was under construction. After the election, people are wondering whether these constructions are still ongoing, and we have come out to find out that indeed the construction is ongoing. We've been to Takrase where the contractor is still filling the roads, and we've got to Kusi, the hometown of the father of Bernard Bediako, and we've seen that indeed the construction is also ongoing over here. At Takrase, what we were told is that the contractor is still mobilizing resources to continue with the filling of the roads. And also at Kusi, we've seen the tractor leveling the grounds, and we have seen trucks also coming in with the gravels to ensure that the machine will be able to level the ground. We spoke with the contractor off camera, and the information it gives us is that the roads within Kusi and Takrase was actually awarded to a contractor 7 years ago and it was abandoned. And then this particular government took office 8 months later and they awarded the contract to a different contractor. And they moved to site on Monday. That was a few days to the polls. I mean, the by-election in Akwatia. And they have been able to work diligently so far. And he tells me that what they are doing has nothing to do with the by-election, according to the contractor's own words. My name is Collins Frimpong, reporting for Joy News.
Well, away from the elections, Ivorian officials have given firm assurance that they will continue to provide full support to all Ghanaians seeking refuge in their country. At least 14,000 people, including women and children, have fled Gbenyiri to seek refuge at Ofankor in the La Côte d'Ivoire area as a result of the Gonja-Brefo ethnic clash, which has resulted in the death of 31 people. Now, the Savannah Regional Minister, Salisu Awiribi, has led a delegation to Ivory Coast today, not to only check on the displaced resident, but with an offer committing to strong border security to prevent illegal migration between the two countries.
We have as food and logistic, we are giving it to them. We think that maybe our government and you also bring enough for them. Even today we have a meeting, then
some of these issues, when it does happen, there are security challenges. The possibility of people moving from Côte d'Ivoire to Ghana to have a reprisal attack, or people moving from Ghana to still continue the attack in the territory of Côte d'Ivoire is high. And therefore we need to collaborate between these two countries and our security agencies to ensure that no miscreant crosses the border to be able to do something which is unthinkable. This is the reason why we have got to build a further and stronger relationship between the two authorities for us to be able to overcome the challenges that we have faced. We have gone to Ofankor. There are several other communities that we are told along the Black Volta that they are located. We would liaise with our Ivorian authorities. Thankfully, my colleague, the president of the Konkan region, the MP for Bona, and then the president of the prefect of Bona, they'll be able to move to 8 or so of the communities, many more yet to move to. We will collaborate and ensure that whatever support that we are having, we will make sure it gets to authorities and they can appropriately ensure that the people get the facilities and make life comfortable.
Ivorian counterparts have also assured that they will continue to provide security, food and shelter for the thousands of victims seeking refuge over there in Ivory Coast. Over the past week, Ian Philippe is president of the Bunkani region, speaking through another representative, Dobia Yakoba.
For us, food and logistic, we are giving it to them. We think that maybe our government and you also bring enough for them. Even today we have a meeting, then we take an appeal of those non-government organizations and our administration also, all the agents whom are represented here in Abuna. We got a meeting today to see how everyone can give help to these people. Coming here, you see by yourself that our security board at both sides are working together. The proof was the way how you enter here so easily.
Well, away from that, the latest figures show Ghana's inflation has dropped to 11.5% in August 2025. The Ghana Statistical Service announced that the figure dipped from 12.1% in July. This marks the 8th consecutive month of decline and brings inflation below government's end-of-year target of 11.9%, signaling stronger price stability. Government statistician Dr. Al-Hassan Idrisu told journalists in Accra that food inflation slowed to 14.8% in August from 15.1% in July, with food prices dropping by 2.5% within the month.
Inflation is falling steadily. Prices rose by 11.5% in August 2025, down from 12.1% in July. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the lowest inflation rate we've seen in almost 4 years, and it marks the 8th month in a row of decline. Overall prices actually fell by 1.3% between July and August 2025, meaning that there's some relief for households once inflation is coming down, and also once prices fell between July and August. Food prices are also easing. Food inflation is now 14.8%, and non-food prices fell by 2.5% in 1 month. Non-food prices are also moderating. Non-food inflation declined to 8.7% from 9.5% in July. And here, prices of non-food items reduced slightly by 0.1% between July and August. Goods inflation slowed too. Inflation for goods dropped to 13.9% from 14.2% in July. And here, the overall prices of goods fell by 1.6% between July and August 2025.
But the big question is, are consumers and traders feeling the impact? Let's take a listen to some traders and consumers at the Malamata market here in Accra.
At the Malata market, some traders told Joy News prices of certain items have gone down. Others, however, say the change is not uniform across commodities. A few also complained that although prices have reduced, buyers are not patronizing as much.
The prices of things are actually good now. These potatoes I sell used to be very expensive, but it's okay now. It's actually sold at 1,500, but it's at 1,000 cedis and 1,200 cedis now.
On point. Like now a bar for front, I go to Kony 1,500. They say I'm you say 1,000, 1,200.
But yeah, it's in the but prices
are currently okay, although some commodities still remain quite expensive. I sell tomatoes and the price has reduced now, but people are not patronizing us. A crate used to sell at 3,000 and 4,000 cedis, but it is now sold at 1,500 and 1,200 cedis.
20 million, 50, 12.
Samuel buys from Malata. He says the drop in inflation rate hasn't reflected in his pocket.
So the inflation rate that has gone down hasn't really reflected in my pocket. Just this afternoon I went to Accra to buy a blender that used to sell at 270 cedis. Today is going for 320. Yeah, so it's just maybe reflecting in the books, but not reflecting in our pockets now.
Wilma, another buyer, says prices of commodities are stable and the ones which have even increased have only increased by a small rate.
Over the past year or two, things were actually very pricey, but for the past, let's say 6 months now, I think things are actually okay. The prices are normal and some things are there. They get to increase a little, not even that much, but for most of the items on the market, the prices are actually very cool.
For Joy News, my name is Adobe Asari.
Well, let's take you back to our earlier story on the Gbenyiri conflict, and let's speak to the Savannah Regional Director of NADMO, Zakaria Mahama, for some more on this. Grateful for your time here, sir. First, what is the situation currently in the camps now? Are the numbers growing? Hello, Mr. Mahama. If you can hear me, I'm asking, what is the current situation at the camps?
The situation at the camp now is calm. Just that some of our people at the displaced camp here are still not having the confidence and still think that they need to seek refuge somewhere. I think today my Director General has reassured them that they should remain at the camp and assure them that whatever that is needed to make them comfortable at the camp will get to them.
So they are leaving. They are leaving, like you're saying. Where are they going?
Yes. As of now, some of them are moving back to their homes, others too are moving down south, but one cannot exactly pinpoint where they are going to. But I must add that we have information, some of our officers in other regions are getting information and indeed are engaging some of them in some other areas of the country, like the Bono region, the Bono East, and some parts of the Upper West region.
Right. If they are leaving because of the situation at the camps, what is NADMO doing to improve the situation at the camps?
Yeah, the situation at the camp, if I may put it, is not bad. The situation at the camp is not bad at all. They are being fed well, they are being treated well. We have a health clinic here. We have other agencies that are coming in to support us. But from the very day the incident started, that has been the situation. People come in, the place is flooded, stay for 3 days, and then other down south, move upper west. And some of them too, because the situation is not that total again, some of them too, are moving back home.
All right. We are grateful for your time.
Away from the Savannah region, President John Dramani Mahama has directed the Lands Ministry, together with the Lands Commission, to immediately conduct a comprehensive audit of all state lands allocated and leased, as well as sold, particularly between the year 2017 and 2024. Speaking during the inauguration of the reconstituted National Lands Commission, the President said that where illegality or impropriety is uncovered, such transactions will be reversed and the lands recovered for the state in accordance with the law.
I've directed the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and the Lands Commission to immediately undertake a comprehensive audit of all state lands allocated, leased or sold, particularly between 2017 and 2024. This audit will cover lands acquired for schools, hospitals, and public institutions, forests and ecological zones unlawfully converted to private use, any transaction tainted by conflict of interest, abuse of power, or political patronage. Where illegality or impropriety is discovered, such transactions will be reversed, and the land will be recovered to government by law. We're not on a witch hunt. Those who have legally acquired land through proper processes need not fear. This exercise is about fairness and justice.
Well, the president also announced the lifting of the temporary ban on state land transactions. He explained that going forward, all allocations, leases, and sales of state lands must strictly adhere to transparent processes, digital verification systems, and effective oversight mechanisms.
So today, with the inauguration of the new commission and the adoption of robust accountability measures, I'm pleased to announce that the ban on land transactions has been lifted. Henceforth, all land transactions, allocation, lease, or sale must strictly comply with transparent processes, digital verification, and oversight mechanisms. The lifting of this ban must not signal a return to business as usual. It is a signal that a new disciplined era of land management has begun.
Away from that, they call it the tree of life, once feeding families, healing the sick and nurturing generations. But in Minduri, in Ghana's Upper East region, the mighty Baobab is withering in Bansi and beyond. Shifting skies and changing climate are stripping strength from a tree that once held whole communities together. On Climate Focus today, Joy News' Mahmoud Nuruddin tells the story of fading roots, broken livelihoods, and a race against time to save the tree of life.
Across the savannas of northern Ghana, the baobab tree towers like an ancient guardian, but today these giants are in distress. In Binduri, especially in the Bansik community, farmers are seeing the trees slowly die and are no longer producing fruits.
When I moved into this house, the flourishing baobab tree was a valuable resource for us. We would harvest its leaves to make nutritious soups. However, over the past 3 years, the tree has struggled with poor fruit production. To make matters worse, whenever it does produce fruit, pests seem to appear, further diminishing its yield. This decline has been concerning, and finding a solution to restore the tree's health and productivity has become a priority.
Baobab leaves are an important part of meals in northern Ghana. The fruit is full of vitamin C, but now some baobab trees have stopped growing leaves.
Yeah, so economically, we will harvest the fruit and sell. People buy the fruit and prepare local drinks. Some too use it as because it's because of the sour nature of it. Some people use it to prepare teas. Others also use it to mix with flour to prepare porridge. So people used to buy, we harvest the fruit and they'll buy it. And also the leaves. The leaves also is nutritious. And so people buy it and prepare soup. So we used to sell at least, if it is up to that time, we'll get money out of it. We'll make money. We used to make money out of it. And it was a huge tree. So it could have the fruit more than 500. And so if you harvest, in fact, you make money.
Experts say there are many reasons. The weather keeps changing and windstorms happen without warning. Trees that lived for hundreds of years are now falling because they can't fight these problems. Some farmers are asking for help. They want research and protection for one of Africa's most important natural resources. Unless urgent action is taken to steady, restore and protect, the tree of life may become a tree of the past. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, Bridging Gaps for Positive Youth Development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll tell you more stories. Please stay.
Welcome back from the break to other stories now.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has urged the contractor working on the rehabilitation of the Ofankor-Nsawam road to complete the project on schedule, stressing that he will hold him to the June 2026 deadline. The president made the remarks during an inspection of the ongoing works on the project. Chief Resident Engineer Kobina Bimpon says the project is about 75% complete and expressed confidence he will finish the project by June 2026. Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
For weeks, the contractor had abandoned the project over delayed payments by the previous administration. The contractor returned to site after receiving the outstanding funds from the current government. For weeks, the deplorable state of the road, one of the busiest corridors linking Accra to the Ashanti region, had drawn sharp criticism from motorists, residents and transport unions. Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Agboja says government has fully settled its financial obligations to the contractor. He stated that government will hold the contractor to his commitment of completing the project by June 2026.
Mr. President, at the time you took office,
the contractor raised a certificate of almost $78 million before NPP left power, and they did not pay him. So it was surprising that just after you took office, people were expecting that what they could not do all over that period, you will do it. But guess what, Mr. President, you did it. As of today, Mr. President, every certificate owed the contractor on this project has been paid entirely. So we don't owe the contractor any amount on this project. And I want to hold the consultant to his work that by second quarter next year, this project should be completed, because the physical progress is about 75%, and then financial performance is even slightly ahead of that. What it means is that there's enough resource for the contractor to continue and complete this project. So we are very grateful for your leadership.
Chief Resident Engineer of the project, Kwabena Bimpon, says they are almost at the stage of asphalting the section that sparked concerns on social media. He noted that about 75% of the project has been completed and expressed confidence that the contractor will finish by June 2026.
From Ofankor, we have a two-lane dual carriageway. We have a two-lane dual carriageway with two-lane service ways on both sides of the road, that making 8 lanes. And then we jump over, to the Pokwase interchange area around Pokwase, where we have 3-lane dual carriageway and then 2-lane service roads, making 10 lanes. Now we have a number of, we have one interchange here at Amasom, and that is where we are presently. It is a 3-tier interchange. And then when we get to Kobiman and Media, we have overpasses. The extension of time that we've given to the contractor to next year, around the second quarter, we should be done.
President Mahama urged the contractor working on the road to complete the project on schedule, stressing that he will hold him to the June 2026 promised deadline.
I can understand what happened. A loan was taken for this project, and I don't understand why the money is finished and the project is not over, and that we're having to come and pay supplementary almost 78 million from government of Ghana funds. So that's something that we need to find out. What really happened? How come the loan that was taken was not enough? Was it that the estimate for the project was not done properly, or what happened? But I can see that drivers are happy now, and I hope that from now till when you finish the project, you maintain a smooth flow of traffic even as you're working, so that you don't impede the flow of traffic. So we'll hold you to your word. You say by end of second quarter next year, you should be finished.
The Ministry of Finance has made it clear that ministries, departments, agencies and regional coordinating councils that fail to submit their medium-term development plans for the 2026-2029 period will not receive budgetary allocation. At a ceremony to issue certificates for approval for completed plans, the ministry stressed that all institutions must align their proposals with the medium-term national development policy framework, international commitments such as sustainable development goals and statutory requirements for effective planning and resource use. The following report has more.
Ministry's Director of Policy Coordination and Evaluation, Augustus Kwesi Edu, said the budget preparation process will strictly follow these approved plans, and any proposals falling outside the agreed framework will be rejected.
The policy objectives we are talking about here are the very objectives that the NDPC used in preparing the policy framework. So if you look at section 21(5) III, and Madam quoted it, without a plan, you are not going to be funded. And we want to make it clear. Those of us who have done the plan, we are okay. The only issue for us is to make sure to go strictly according to the plan.
The Deputy Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Samson Ahi, whose ministry is one of the first to submit their medium-term development plan, called on other MDAs to follow suit to avoid losing budgetary allocations.
We have a lot to do to ensure that our programs and plans and activities support the economy to grow, to rake in the needed resources to create employment for our people.
Acting Director General of the National Development Planning Commission, Dr. Audrey Amwa, said the commission has so far received 18 out of the 38 MDA plans, 4 out of the 16 Regional Coordinating Council plans, and 64 out of the 261 MMDA plans.
MDAs, RCCs and MMDAs have gone through a demanding but worthwhile planning process, beginning with a careful situational analysis and introspection of the current development context, engaging in multiple stakeholder consultative sessions, leading comprehensive sector-wide and jurisdictional technical discussions and documentation processes to chart a development course for our dear nation for the next 4 years.
Well, the approved entities also include the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, and the Eastern Regional Coordinating Council, and the NDPC itself.
Let's take you to the Ashanti region now, because management of the Ofankor-Nsawam Teaching Hospital has launched intensive lobbying and pursuing public-private partnerships to upgrade equipment and revive critically stalled legacy projects. A number of projects being executed to provide spaces for clinical and other allied services have stalled, while the existing ones are undergoing severe wear and tear due to lack of comprehensive renovations. Now, the hospital has noted the pressure at the facility compromises the quality of patient care.
Despite being Ghana's second largest referral hospital, major expansion projects have not been completed or put to use. Chief Executive Officer of the Ofankor-Nsawam Teaching Hospital, Dr. Akwatia By-Election, explains that the situation is compounded with non-existent modern clinical equipment to complement the operation of the existing facilities.
We have a number of stalled projects, and I mentioned the Hill Ofankor-Nsawam project that is ongoing. Just behind this block that you see here, the D block, you see a project that started in 1992. It's supposed to serve as offices and conference facilities for staff. And since 1992, we've not been able to complete it. That is one. And we have the Sickle Cell and Blood Center that was started in 2016 by the GMPC. We have the psychiatry block renovation that was also started by Ghana Gas. These are but few of the projects that has stalled. Ofankor-Nsawam serves 12 out of the 16 regions, and if you are serving 12, in terms of regions is 12, but population-wise, we are serving almost 60 to 70% of the population in the country. So that means we are under so much stress compared to the resources we have. This is the only major facility serving these regions. And once we are able to complete most of these projects, it will ease the pressure on us.
Dr. Bade reviewed the situation at the hospital's 2025 Mid-Year Performance Review Conference whilst courting for support from corporate Ghana and government. The conference that assembled staff and management of KATH prioritized the comprehensive retooling of the hospital, renew efforts to complete all stalled projects, secure support for new critical infrastructure to provide modern and fit-for-purpose spaces for clinical services and improve staff productivity and welfare. The CEO says the hospital's current operational deficits have been assessed with the view of marshalling the right strategies and support for addressing them.
Most of our radiology, CT scan, MRI are down, or they are working at fault. When we say working at fault, it means today is working, tomorrow it's not working. These are challenges, but we will address them. Since I became CEO about barely 4 months ago, I took it upon myself to walk to the corridors of these agencies to help them build it. The projects I mentioned, the office complex here is an IGF, so we are using our resources to do it. And it's my commitment that within the next year, that project that was started in 1992 will be completed. And that is a solemn promise. But in most places, as you chop 70 years as an institution, you are expected to see improvement in your infrastructure, improvement in your services. But we have limited resources. And we can only achieve that with the support of all.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Oh, you're still watching Joy News Prime. Carlos, I'm leaving you now, but when we return, we'll bring you showbiz. Please stay tuned in.